Good morning or good afternoon, depending on which state you're in with the time changes. Good to be at least being able to communicate in some fashion. Shirley, Hamo, Veronica, Val, Jeff and Sabina. Pity we couldn't all catch up together today. Sorry, not today, but in Beechworth. And hello to the community members that I met on my travels as well. Hope you're all zooming in and keeping safe and well. I'll just take you through a PowerPoint that I would have presented in Beechworth. The Keep Australia Beautiful Sustainable Communities Tidy Towns Awards 2021. The state and territory winners, as you may all already be aware: Victoria, Hastings; New South Wales, Albury; Tasmania, Penguin; Northern Territory, Wallace Rockhole; Western Australia, Narrogin; and Queensland, Rockhampton. Unfortunately, South Australia weren't able to take part last year. My personal comments. So once again, judging visits were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Flights were forced to be rescheduled, routes were changed in terminals, accommodation altered to less busy locations, meals were mostly room service where possible, and twice I narrowly missed having to quarantine for 2 weeks. So dodged a couple of bullets there. Due to COVID, this year's judging was a little more spread out, resulting in about 20 airports in 6 weeks, including 4 flights in 1 day. Effects of COVID-19. Some of the 9 categories judged remained unaffected by the pandemic, whilst other categories and the criteria for judging those categories are considerably different for councils and their communities. The way events were organised and run was the biggest challenge for councils and their communities, with most events cancelled for the most part of the 12 months. The impact of not holding events, particularly fundraising events, obviously makes a huge financial dent with organisations, councils, establishments, etc., as well as the lack of human contact and fellowship, which naturally occurs when events are being organised. The risk management now involved in running an event is time-consuming and taxing to those involved, especially with health priorities and enforced rules needing to be carefully and thoughtfully covered. Smaller populations will obviously felt the effects of these challenges more than the bigger cities in respect to the human aspect. Judging scores. A state or territory may score extremely high in all 9 categories and not win one individual category and still win the overall competition. So it's very much points-based. A state or territory may win 1 or more categories and be beaten by another state or territory who score highly in every category, who don't win any individual categories. The town or city with the most individual category wins won't necessarily win the overall award. That's a really big take-home message when you're listening to the actual awards ceremony, and some people like to be calculated and think, oh wow, a certain state or territory have won so many categories already in the announcements out of the 9, but don't necessarily, don't sort of be dragged into thinking along those lines, because that's not how the judging criteria and the scoring works. Doing it well. Time and time again over the last 4 years of judging, and that would be around 28 different individual judging days in towns or cities and communities. These success keys continually show up as being obvious when you're judging, and it seems to have an amazing impact on the judging day and the town and their category success. They're things like consultation, collaboration and unity, especially between council and community members. The styling of projects to suit community needs and wants, and obviously that's very much a collaboration for everyone in the community, because that's what drives success with projects. Creative and inspiring executive execution of the project. Just to have a bit of a creative twist and a unique twist on what a town does with a project, instead of just copying something that someone else has done, because obviously all communities have their own signature, and that creative inspiration, if it reflects what the community is seriously about, it is more successful. Tailoring projects to benefit long-term driven outcomes. Obviously, scope and sequence in all communities is really important, not just the immediate funding and grants that are available to tailor what needs to be done, but also long-term. The outcomes for long-term are really important, able to see where the community have been. Execution of a plan for council and community to recognise goals to strengthen the long-term future sustainability of their community. So obviously that behind-the-scenes planning is paramount for communities and councils. Valuing volunteers and all those who involve themselves in the community. Obviously, that's even though it's the last point on my keys to success, it really is the most important one, and never to be forgotten and undermined. And I think what's happened during COVID-19 is the valuing of volunteers has really been noticed, and hopefully, going forward out of the pandemic, more people may rise to that challenge of volunteering. Wait and see with that one, but we'd think that that's what would happen. Congratulations, each state and territory winner, the winning towns who entered the Keep Australia Beautiful Sustainable Communities Tidy Towns National Awards for 2021. Congratulations to each category winner for this year's awards program. Congratulations to the overall national award winner for 2021. Each community, and there were the 6 this year without South Australia, had definite standout categories. And it makes my judging job a bit easier when it does fall a little bit like that, rather than having 7 out of 9 categories highly contested by all the states and territories. It just makes it a little bit easier if there are real standouts in different categories for different states and territories. So that worked really well this year. I'm very, very happy to receive emails or feedback or have any questions, and I already have had some questions coming to me, which I've been able to answer and help communities with. When I'm judging in communities, I often will relay and relate to other experiences that I've seen that might work in a community and try and impart my knowledge along the way. So it's a bit of a learning experience from a way that I can just add a little bit more information to communities as I go. So if there's anything that I've mentioned along the way you'd like more information about, or if I can help in any way, please send me an email or phone me if you have my number. So I'm wishing you all a very healthy end of year, and hopefully we can all get together again in the next coming year and catch up again in person. It would be not the same to be able to judge if it needed to be via video link. You just can't get the flesh on the bones that you see when you're judging in person communities. So here's hoping for a bright and healthy future to come. Thanking you very much, and we'll talk again soon, hopefully. Thanks so much.